Welcome to The American Story. Stories about what it is that makes America beautiful. Heartbreaking, funny, inspiring, and endlessly interesting. This is Chris Flannery with the Claremont Institute. I call this one Purple Mountain Majesties. Pikes Peak, sometimes called America's Mountain, sits just west of Colorado Springs, Colorado. Mountaineers refer to Pikes Peak as a 14er, a mountain peak with an elevation above 14,000 feet that doesn't break into the rare thin air of 15,000 feet and above. There are 96 14ers in the United States. 53 of them are in Colorado. If you are a peak bagger, Pikes Peak is on your list. When you visit Pikes Peak, and you should, you'll find various modes of ascent. Depending on the weather, and it is important to realize in advance that at Pikes Peak everything depends on the weather. You can cycle or drive up Pikes Peak Highway. You can hike up the popular Bar Trail. You can run up and back down in the annual Pikes Peak Marathon. Guided tours by Jeep or bus are available. Or you might take the Pikes Peak Cog Railway. It's been in operation since the summer of 1891. Back then, your only options up the mountain were by foot, rail, or carriage. In the summer of 1893, Wellesley Professor of English Literature, Katharine Lee Bates, and some friends opted to take a carriage up the mountain. Bates was in Colorado to teach English at a summer school in Colorado Springs. Later, she recalled, "One day some of the other teachers and I decided to go on a trip to 14,000-foot Pikes Peak. We hired a prairie wagon. Near the top, we had to leave the wagon and go the rest of the way on mules. I was very tired. But when I saw the view, I felt great joy. All the wonder of America seemed displayed there, with the sea-like expanse." The wonder of America that Bates beheld from 14,000 feet inspired her to write a draft of a poem, which she called Pikes Peak. It would be published 2 years later in the July 4th issue of a church periodical. Here, where its popularity as a poem first began to grow, it was called America. Soon Americans were singing the poem in all kinds of different melodies, until the amended poem was combined in 1910 with music by composer Samuel Ward, and was published as the song known ever since as America the Beautiful, one of the most beloved American patriotic songs. The song grew in popularity during Bates's lifetime. Within 20 years, she had given hundreds, perhaps thousands, of free permissions for America the Beautiful to appear in church hymnals and Sunday school songbooks of nearly all the denominations, in a large number of regularly published songbooks, poetry readers, civic readers, patriotic readers, in manuals of hymns and prayers, and anthologies of patriotic prose and poetry, and in countless periodicals. The words and melody of the song became so revered that many have championed it as a candidate to be America's national anthem. Here are the poet's words that millions of Americans have sung together in the familiar melody over several generations now, often on the most solemn national occasions. "O beautiful for spacious skies, for amber waves of grain, for purple mountain majesties above the fruited plain. America, America, God shed his grace on thee, and crown thy good with brotherhood from sea to shining sea. O beautiful for pilgrim feet, whose stern, impassioned stress a thoroughfare for freedom beat across the wilderness. America, America, God mend thine every flaw, confirm thy soul in self-control, thy liberty in law. O beautiful for heroes proved in liberating strife, who more than self their country loved, and mercy more than life. America, America, may God thy gold refine, till all success be nobleness, and every gain divine. O beautiful for patriot dream, that sees beyond the years Thine alabaster cities gleam undimmed by human tears. America, America, God shed his grace on thee, and crown thy good with brotherhood, from sea to shining sea. Thanks to Katharine Lee Bates and that 14,000-foot peak in Colorado that inspired her with such joy and such American visions. Together, they gave us the gift of a poem that became an anthem for the ages and a sacred American prayer. America, America, God shed his grace on thee. This is Chris Flannery, and I'd like to enlist your help in getting the American Story podcast to more people. If you haven't done so already, please download a podcast app on your phone or tablet. Then subscribe to the American Story on that app. It's free. The app subscriptions push us up in the podcast rankings. The higher we go up, the more people are exposed to the American Story podcast, the more people that will download for the first time, and the podcast grows and grows. And we have been growing, so I want to say a big thank you to all of our subscribers. This is Chris Flannery with the Claremont Institute. Thanks for being part of the American Story.